My Grandpa's Cafe in Dania.
Hold the mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome everybody to another very special edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. I am Mike Mayo, and I am joined today by a couple of, well, besides Jeff Defo DeForest, who's legendary in his own right, obviously veteran South Florida broadcaster, but another South Florida legendary broadcaster, Tony Segreto, joins us again. And in the house,
there is no more legendary South Florida broadcaster than Tony Segreto.
And why don't you do the introduction while I get us loaded up on Let's Eat group? I've got phones. I'm juggling around. I'm trying to get links and do all this. Here we go. We're going to get
do the introduction.
You do the introduction.
Right. We don't need to play
You've known this man a long time.
All right, here's what's happening. I get a call from Tony Segreto, and I'm wondering, should I break this news to everybody? And then I realized, yes, it was significant enough. I mean, one of my all-time sporting heroes here. And Mayo, you were in the sports business for a long time.
I was.
Of all the guys I got to know in South Florida, I mean, definitely in my top five, if not right at the top of the list of guys that I had the pleasure to watch play, watch his career, and then get to know personally. The great one himself, I mean, from Alai fame, revolutionized the game. A Jewish kid revolutionizing a game that only the Spanish people knew how to play. And he just lit it up for many years at Miami Highlight and Dania Highlight. The great Joey Cornblitt.
Joey!
That's
what they shouted from the rafters at the various frontons, and right?
All the condo commandos were out there cheering me on every day.
Yeah. Joey was a legend on the fronton courts of South Florida. And, we were chatting a little bit before the show. I was just trying to get the whole background, this story. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you were born, where you were raised, and why Highlight? What possessed you to pick up a cesta?
I was born in Montreal, left when I was 9 months old, grew up here in South Florida, grew up in Miami, and now I'm in Broward. Now I'm in Cocoa Beach.
Okay.
I moved to Cocoa.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And I just, when I was 12 years old, my dad took me to a friend of his, took us to an amateur facility right here down the block in North Miami, off Biscayne and 150th. And I tagged along like a little 12-year-old kid, and I liked it. Told my dad. It took me next Saturday, the following Saturday, kept going every Saturday. And then after about 6 months, they opened up a school at Miami Highlight to recruit Americans.
Really?
So I went into school.
What year was that?
I started in 1968 or 9.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I continue to play. And
so
then,
for your bar mitzvah, you got a cesta. Was that like your...
He wore it on his head.
I interviewed him.
Nobody knew what to do with it.
I interviewed him, and he was 14 years old.
Really? Because he was one of the first in that class of Americans learning the game?
And from that day on, we were best of friends.
And then what happened is I entered every year the United States Amateur Highlight Association has a tournament to get a representative in the World Championships, and I was 15. I won, and I represented the United States in the World Championships in Saint-Jean-de-Luz, France. United States never even won a game before, and we won 5 out of 8 and got a bronze medal and came back. And then I was offered, when I was 16, I was still in high school, professional contract at Miami Highlight. And I went to Miami Carroll City. So I would go to school in the morning from 7 to 11, get in my car, run down, play the matinee, and
the early double. That's incredible. And of course, for everybody out there, Alai, a sport that originated, I guess, in the Basque region
Yes.
of Spain.
Yeah.
Very popular in Basque and Spain, and I guess
I was
France had
there.
courts
I played there.
Yeah.
I went there.
How was your reception? What they make of an American that was playing
They
their
weren't
game?
too happy. They weren't too happy. But this was one of my goals, and I really didn't care, and I was going to prove that, Americans can play this sport, and then they started respecting me a lot more, and we became very, very close.
Nice. So it's just one of those things that I don't know, for people who are, of a certain age, they will remember the heyday of Alai in South Florida, where you had
Phenomenal.
frontons everywhere. There was in Palm Beach, there was Dania, there was Miami Alai, there was Flagler.
10 frontons.
10 frontons
in Florida.
And all of them on the weekends, I guess did they rotate around seasonally like they did with the racetracks, or were all open at the same
They
time?
did the same thing
Yeah.
seasonally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
10 to 15,000 people on
on a
Saturday
Friday night.
Yeah.
I remember when I first came to
It's
South
unbelievable.
Florida as a high school kid on spring break, and I had an aunt and uncle in Boca, and we'd go up to Palm Beach or Dania, and on a Friday night, the parking lot full, 15,000 people.
Amazing.
The restaurants up there were, at Dania Highlight, they had a terrific restaurant.
Chef Buddy,
Yeah.
who was great.
Now, how long did you spend? You spent a long time at Dania also, right?
I played 15 years at Miami, had a contract dispute, and then next day Dania got in touch with me, and I played 10 years in Dania.
Dania. So 25-year career.
Yeah, I was very fortunate.
And what was it like just in those days when you had a big crowd, and then you would win a match and they'd be roaring for you? Right?
Yeah, those days. It was unbelievable. I was young, trying to get better, to play the better games, the later games, and when you have that roar of the crowd, and back in the day everybody's smoking, you had the smoke, and you go out on the court and you got this huge thing that's just smoke, and the crowds were just so into it. That was the place to be.
It was really, and again, this is a different time and place in terms of the lottery had just been approved. There was really only pari-mutuel wagering was available to those who like to maybe plunge their guts out, like Defo, me, and Ken the Professor. So it was one of the only games in town, besides the thoroughbred tracks, and then the harness races at Pompano. And it really every weekend was an event. It was wonderful. But the thing is, with Alai, you have human players and human beings, and Defo knows this. Sometimes when you had a wager on a particular person, and they seemingly dropped what looked to us like an easy point catch. What would happen, Defo? What would you say?
Well, this is one of the interesting things, and this is a time now where people are super sensitive, hypersensitive, and whatever you say, they consider it an insult. You say hello, and the guy goes, "Oh, what are you saying hello to me for? What the hell? What are you, some kind of racist?" You had to insulate yourself from many, many insults, I would imagine, over the years, because as the professor would, unfortunately, be willing to admit, but it happened to be true. You were always 3 to 5 in the odds board, and even if you're in the 6 hole, and he hates chalk like a lot of people do, and so he's rooting against you with every emotional fiber he has in his body. But did you hear the guy yelling, "You suck, Joey"? From the as you're in the middle of your swing for the serve?
They were brutal. You got these people that got $2 on you, and they think they could scream anything.
Yes.
So
well, it's their last $2, so you can't blame them.
That could be. But
we were talking this morning. there might have been some unflattering things implied about the Jewish people.
Yeah.
You probably heard some of that.
Oh yeah, I did. I heard it all, especially when you throw it into the pad up front, and then you got a long walk back, and you hear all the people right there, right on the screen. Oh, they're brutal.
The worst sound was the clank.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, when a guy's right in front of the wall there, makes the catch, brilliant play, and then all of a sudden, all he has to do is hit the wall, and boom, clank. You hear that clank, and it would resonate for like days in your
Everybody talks about the clank.
Well, you kind of love the clank if you had the guy next up serving,
the other
and
guy.
if you wanted the guy to lose. But
Sure.
We're here at 10 Palms at Gulfstream for our
I
usual
see food
Friday
coming.
show.
I gotta get
Where
involved here.
we've got Joey got the nice daily
Pellegrino.
special soup, the clam chowder. We've got the bottle of bubbly, the San Pellegrino for Tony. and
Tony's
Joey.
always in on his
And
wine.
Joey,
Yeah.
10 Palms at Gulfstream. We're going to be doing our usual Sunday brunch contest a little later in the show. We're going to have Joe Beja
That's it.
on,
Get into the glass.
executive director of
Drinking light
hospitality
today,
here. But meanwhile, we're talking with Joey Cornblitt, the legendary highlight star of the 70s, 80s. When did you retire? Was it early 90s?
95.
95. I had already been down here a few years, and I lived in the neighborhood of Dania Highlight, and I was a neighbor of the old PR
Marty
DP,
Fleischman.
Marty Fleischman. So Marty's a good guy, and he got me on the court one time. So what people don't realize, highlight was known as the fastest sport, right? Because
It
that
is.
pelota
World's
went,
fastest game. That's
Yeah,
how they build it.
It went. How fast was those pelotas going?
Well, would go 150 miles an hour. It's been clocked at like 180, 185.
did you ever take one on the forehead? Or
I've gotten hit in the head, but I had, fortunately, a helmet. I got hit pretty bad in Spain when I was playing,
Wow.
but I had the helmet. I had no problem. But
did you wear pads elsewhere, or is it
I wore a football girdle.
okay?
I wore elbow pad, and I wore shin guards.
Okay.
You get hit by that, and your shin
Oh, it just shatters.
You
right?
could be out.
You're Aaron
You could be-
Rodgers. Yeah. at
Yeah,
that
you could
point.
be out for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to protect myself as much as possible. But there was a player that got hit with the helmet. Direct
Was
shot.
that Orbea?
No, Orbea. That's
Yeah.
the reason we wore helmets.
Yeah.
Is because of Orbea back in the day in Spain. He got hit. They didn't wear helmets. He got hit in the head. He was in a coma, and he had to learn how to talk and walk and everything. And so they made it mandatory to wear helmets. But there was a player, Juan, in Miami, got hit direct shot into his head, and he was dying right there in our training table, and our trainer saved his life.
Nice.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was out a year.
Oh, wow. He played again.
He played
came back.
again, but he was very gun shy.
That's
obviously.
dedication.
What-
Yeah.
what were you like on the court?
Oh, okay. So I'm a lefty. So right off the bat, people know that you can't wear a cesta on your left hand. It's
Right.
always on the right.
Correct.
So I was just at a disadvantage going in, and I just went to trying to, Marty wanted to give me a sense of what it was like, and when you're actually on the court, and what it takes to actually reach the wall. And with my, weak hand, it barely made it a
Yeah.
couple of times.
Right.
And again, just to maneuver the ball, it is a highly skilled sport, and I do have an appreciation for it. And I do apologize for all the times I called you a rotten, no good pig.
You know what? What's a shame?
I'm used to it.
What's a shame, Mike?
We haven't seen you eat yet.
Is that
No, that's me.
That's
Yeah.
Mayo. Brad.
Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
is that it's a dying sport.
Well,
That's a shame. It
partly
really is.
because of once the rules and once the slots came in Florida, and then
Casino
they-
game.
they had the-
gaming.
the
It was
the
killed it.
legislature did the decoupling, so they
Correct.
got rid of no longer greyhound racing, and
Yep.
harness racing is gone, and
Yep.
then highlight also. They didn't require the highlight frontons
Get
to
rid of the
run
glass.
highlight matches in order to
Glass.
have the slot machines.
Right.
So
Right.
it was just seen as an added expense. Dania Highlight now is it's shrunk down to this
Oh,
little
Tumble.
cubicle,
Yeah.
and they run a few matches a year.
a couple months they run at
Yeah.
the end of during the season, like November.
Yeah.
And no, it's sad because it used to be so popular.
Well,
that smells
things
good.
change
That's,
in life,
somebody's
and
fish.
same thing could be said about newspapers. I was a newspaper guy for 31 years, covered sports, covered news,
Smells
covered
good,
food,
Joey.
and newspapers
No,
are going
no,
by the
it's only-
wayside. Highlight is going by the wayside, but we still have glorious, thoroughbred racing here, and we have 10 Palms and this wonderful food. And
It's
Joey, you were
fantastic.
telling me you actually watched the show, you watched the Lunchbox, and you're a fan.
I watch Defo show in the morning with Lubie,
Oh, nice.
and then I watch your show every day. I watch it after it was recorded because by the time I get up and it's already
Have a bowel movement.
It's already over. So I enjoy. I enjoy it. That's my my day consists of watching both of you guys,
That's great.
and it's so enjoyable.
He'll
You
call
guys,
me up.
You guys do a great
He'll
job.
call me up and he goes, "Did you see him today?" No, I didn't.
Well,
I was upset I didn't get you during the week
Oh,
because
yeah,
of
we
Lubie.
took a few days off
Yeah.
there. Mr. Morocco is his new wrestling name.
Yeah.
Lubie when he gets back here. But, what was great, I mean, when I first moved here, I started going to Alai very frequently. I'd been there before a couple of times. I'd come to South Florida on various spring vacations or whatever. And it was just rocking. It was so much fun. And then what people didn't realize, and our good friend Eddie Kaplan was also a huge fan of the game.
Eddie Cap.
And he would say, you know what, you can go to a baseball game. You might see one or two really great plays in the course of an evening. Some shortstop makes a backhand play, diving in the hole, gets up, throws a guy out. You would see like a dozen plays like that in an evening, especially the late games, either front on Miami or Dania. And then, there were some legendary players involved. I mean, it was really high quality stuff.
Oh, it's fantastic. Eddie used to do a show from Alai.
He pulled kind of a Mayo. He was a forerunner to Mayo where we go, well, if the 6 beats the 3 and then the 2 goes out the door, I'm alive for a Quinella double to the 5-8 and the 7-8 in game 11 or game 15. Yeah, no. It was the whole show. It was great.
I always used to just play numbers, box numbers.
That's the
Birthdays.
best way to do it. I tell everybody, just bet numbers. Oh,
Tony, were you
anybody
ever in
can beat
one of those
anybody.
media games? I was in a few of those. Yeah.
Always in a media game.
I won one without ever touching a ball one year. When I was partnered with the great Michelina. at
Oh, yeah,
Miami
you didn't have
Highlight.
to touch the ball. You
Well,
great.
it just worked out that way. And some of the guys, there were a few guys in the media that could play a little bit.
Frank Fort.
Frank Fort was
Frank
good.
Fort was
Dave
good.
Lamont was good.
Dave Lamont, yeah.
The old Miami news guy, Marty Klinkenberg, who's now
Marty
in Toronto covering
Klinkenberg.
hockey.
Yep.
He had some game. And the guys that didn't, one of Tony's favorites, Ed Berliner, was not particularly adept at highlight. In fact, he nearly turned the Polyman into a unicorn. I mean,
Oh man, yeah, I wouldn't want to get
Joe
hit there.
Zagacki, your buddy Joe Zagacki was awful also. I mean,
Joe wasn't very good.
but it was weird. You had to throw the thing, the pelota, like way to the
Way
right
to the right.
to make it go this way if you were doing a sidearm throw, which,
Clear
it
some
was more
space.
typical.
Yeah.
And then throwing overhand in the beginning was almost impossible.
Well, everybody tries to throw it like. Sorry. Everybody tries to throw it like a baseball.
Right.
And it'll
And
go
catch
right
it like one.
right, and it'll go right into the floor. I
Yeah,
mean, they have no shot at. When we used to have the Pro Bowl here in Miami, so we had all these teams. Alan Page. I was out in the court with Alan Page, and he
Minnesota Viking.
Right.
the big-
Instantly told me, get me off this court. I'm embarrassing myself too much. Billy Sims was out there. We
Your
had him out
temptation
there.
is to stab at the ball with the
Yeah,
cesta,
yeah.
or try to be aggressive catching it
Correct.
like you would with a baseball. But
Right.
you really
just
have to
gotta
let that thing
let it go in.
I mean,
What-
it's really like treating a young lady at
do you-
their first dinner.
Do you still pick up a cesta and just go on a court sometime, or
Not at
when
all.
was the last time that you've
When I retired.
really?
It's hard to find a guy to
No.
have a catch with also.
No
in
desire.
highlight. I mean, can't just go out in the backyard and start slinging a highlight.
Oh, that's funny.
No
Yeah.
desire.
Hey, let's talk food. What are you into food-wise, Joey? Are you a healthy eater, or are you a guy like me that just puts anything and everything in?
Try
his
to
mouth?
eat as healthy as I can.
Look at the man. He still could play. I mean,
Yeah,
if he was
the
asked
guy
to do
is
something.
unlike me. He'll get yelled at by my cardiologist yesterday, and I tell you, yesterday I started off with salad for lunch. Today I've got another beautiful one of their caprese
Wow.
salads for lunch.
Proud of you.
But I
Awesome.
last night I happened to get invited to this really fancy champagne tasting dinner at a place in Fort Lauderdale
So
called
there
Wine
went day
Watch.
one is what
Yeah.
he's trying to tell you.
Well,
of his new
When,
approach.
when confronted by a flight of
Yeah.
4 vintage blend champagnes of the highest order from the Laurent Perrier house, and they had these reps in, and they had 4 bottles arrayed. They blend 3 vintages in these special, what they call Le Grand Siècle, which means the Grand Century. And they
Never
take
had
3
this.
blends, they put it together, and then they release these bottles every few years at Laurent Perrier. They brought some of the more recent ones, and they have to age at least 10 years. So the more recent ones were blends that started in 2012 going backwards. And then they had one from the 90s. And
the most expensive bottle that we were sipping last night goes for $2,100.
Oh, it's a little steep.
And then we also had an array of small dishes that it's a husband and wife that operate Wine Watch. And it's kind of like a high-end place, but they also have a room that's a private dining room. It's kind of like a wine cave, very cool, with a big square table. And we had dishes such as tuna tartare and a coconut milk broth. That was excellent.
I had that for breakfast this morning. I was
Little-
just thinking about that tuna tartare you wanted to taste.
Little potato croquettes topped with
Tuna
caviar.
tartare. What the heck?
We
It's
had
a raw piece of fish is what he's talking about.
Hudson Valley foie
I
gras.
thought you were going to say Hudson River.
No, Hudson Valley foie gras, which everybody knows is, of course, goose liver pate, or goose. It's actually just
Perfect
seared
for
goose
cholesterol.
liver. Well, here was the thing where I showed my restraint finally, Joey. I only had 2 bites, and then I pushed it aside, and then my dining companion ate the
That's
rest
the way you gotta do
because
it.
she said you can't waste the good foie gras. But I was good. I just had 2 bites, so that's the new Mayo, is just 2 bites of the very bad stuff.
So
And
I want to tell you, I went to Grandpa's the other day.
oh, Grandpa's Bakery, we love
one
them.
of our favorite stops.
I love that.
So I went and I picked up some bagels and on a whim, I picked up a black and white.
Oh, nice.
How was it?
The best black and white
There you
I've
go.
ever had.
That place is great.
Grandpa's, one of our great sponsors here. And thank you, Tony, for the perfect segue, because tonight, of course, is the beginning of the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. And we celebrate the arrival of year 5784 on the Jewish calendar. And boy, time flies. It was just 5762. So I just can't believe it anymore. But no, Grandpa's is a great place to go in to pick up. Besides the black and white cookies, they have the whole holiday menu where you can pick up for catering, takeout. They are also open for regular service.
Good.
But I went in there yesterday. I saw my man Clive, the deli manager, and put it in the order. I'm going to have a little Rosh Hashanah supper with my mom tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to get some nice brisket, kasher vanishkes. We got the matzo ball soup. I love all that stuff. I love the holidays, and that brings us into our contest for the week. Joey, if you're a regular viewer, you know how the contest works. Every
I do.
Friday,
I do.
we
Can
have.
you attempt to explain it?
I didn't get to.
Was
Last
this like
week,
Alan Page out on the front?
I didn't get to.
Oh, you didn't get the restaurant?
Last week,
No.
Fran's Chicken
The
Haven.
chicken.
We were
place.
celebrating National Chicken Month, and we went with a little bit of obscure hole-in-the-wall place in Boca Raton, but it has excellent fried chicken. Fran's Chicken Haven was the answer, and of course, we had the favorite won the first leg of that Florida Stallion series, Ben Tornado, but there was a technicality. There was a scratched horse. The scratched horse. There was one person who took the scratched horse. That was Gregory Kosks, and he ended up landing in the hat because he got the post-time favorite, and his name got picked out of the hat. So again, congratulations, Gregory, for
Right.
just
Saw
kind of
It's a very controversial
skanking
contest.
his way into victory, with a
Jesus.
backing into it with a scratched horse.
I
getting
don't
the
think
favorite.
there were more suspicions about that De La Portilla guy that just got busted yesterday from the Miami Commission
Right.
than there were about the way this contest was conducted. last
Everything's on the up and up. You could go to the videotape. You see that I got his name in the hat at the last minute because I didn't realize that there was somebody that
You
picked the
can't-
scratch horse. We got it in.
Did you
He is the
memorialize?
legit winner.
You memorialize these picks.
Yeah, because it's right on camera, so
Yeah,
everybody
it's right
can
on
see
camera.
that. Like I'm not, there's no hocus pocus. I'm
No.
put them all in the hat, and then I pick one out with my hands like this, and
And it was him.
and I want to, I want to spread the wealth, and it's better when somebody that hasn't won before and gotten to enjoy the fine Sunday brunch here at 10 Palms.
Professor says it reeked more than the Patrick Ewing
Oh,
draft.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Professor Ken is
When the
running.
Knicks had like a 0.009% chance of getting the number one pick, and somehow
He got it.
there was Patrick with the
It
Knicks
was
jersey
legit.
on.
I
Yeah.
swear, Your Honor, it was legit. Ken does not have a headset today, so we cannot hear his bon mots today. But it is time for the weekly contest. It is very simple. Well, there's 2 components. Number one, you pick a winner of tomorrow's featured race at Gulfstream, which this week's featured race is going to be, again, the 8th race on the card, on tomorrow's card. It's the $75,000 Bears Den Steak for 3-year-olds, and there's going to be a field of 9 going postword. So just send a number from 1 through 9. Along with the winning, the name of the the restaurant that is the answer to the trivia questions I'm going to pose in a minute. So you send the number from 1 through 9, the name of the restaurant to MikeMayoEats@gmail.com by noon tomorrow, Saturday, September 16th. If you are Jewish and observant of the holiday, I'm giving you plenty time between now and sundown to get your picks in on the
can't
computer.
get an extension? Oh, no, the race will be over, yeah.
No, the race is over. It's a 2-day holiday that, the observant don't touch their
You have to have
computers.
some kind of
or
certification
gadgets.
that you had a bar mitzvah.
And look
to
at
get
this.
the
We got,
extension, yeah.
I think we got 4 of the Jewish faith, although, I call myself Jewish very loosely. I haven't been to a synagogue forever.
Norwegian blood.
I can't afford the tickets anymore, Defo, but we've got Joey Cornblitt and Defo, MOT.
I've gotten a jackpot before for suggesting that the way to approach it was to scalp the tickets that you had. And there were some people that questioned my character after I was spotted outside Temple Bet Yam in Lauderdale by the Sea. Got 2.
That's definitely, I think, one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt
Tony
not.
would have never resorted to selling dolphin tickets like I did by the Turnpike exit. I used to have like a stack of tickets, and I was trying to get a bankroll together to go to Calder right after the pregame show. And I was going to watch the game, obviously, there and come back and do my commentary. But I would sell them right there. It was great. I mean, and I'd give them away for face value. People love me.
I told a buddy of mine to sell my Super Bowl tickets in San Diego.
Oh yeah, nice.
So he came back and he said, "I got bad news for you. I scalped them and I got caught."
Oh yeah.
No way.
Oh,
that was his story, right?
Yeah.
A likely story. Oh.
Next thing, he had a mansion in Tijuana that he was living in, and you had no access to it whatsoever.
My scalping story is different. Me and my brother once got tickets to the Metropolitan Opera in New York of a really great performance of like Rigoletto, and this was back in the day when I don't know if it was Pavarotti was one of the lead singers, but me and my brother looked at each other and they said, "We don't want to go to the opera." We scalped the opera tickets and we went right down to Madison Square Garden because the Rangers were playing, I think, the Islanders.
I thought you went to Yonkers.
So we took this money. This was from my wealthy uncle who was a lawyer on Wall Street, and we just we never told him. We just said the opera was great, but we ended up being in the blue section of the Garden, rooting on the Rangers of the late 70s. So
no question.
Anyway, let's get to it.
All right, so what do you got?
All right, so this week's restaurant, we're celebrating Rosh Hashanah and the Jewish New Year with a bygone restaurant. And L'Shana Tova, happy, healthy 5784 to all who celebrate. And here's the clues. I'll do the first 2 now. It's a bygone restaurant. That means it no longer exists, okay? This Hollywood deli was a regular lunch spot for Yankees legend Joe DiMaggio. And Barack Obama stopped here for a nosh in the closing days of the 2008 presidential campaign, spending $53.77 on potato pancakes, bagels, lox, and a black and white cookie, Tony. That's one of your favorites. But this wasn't at Grandpa's. This was at this Hollywood deli where, again, DiMaggio used to have lunch regularly with his lawyer, Morris Engelberg. And Barack Obama, I'm sorry.
He should have went to Grandpa's.
Well, back then Grandpa's was more of a diner before it became a New York deli type thing. But this place was really good back in the day. And I'll do clue number 2. The restaurant opened in 1971, and it moved from Sheridan Street to Sterling Road after a fire in 1993. But then it abruptly closed in 2010 after being evicted by the landlord in a rent payment dispute. So this place had a good run from 1971 to 2010, and it was again, it moved after a fire. Anybody have any clue what this place was?
Joey seems to know it.
Okay, don't mention it because
Tony would know it because of the DiMaggio connection there.
And again, you people, you got the Google machine, so these clues that I give you, you probably could find these little nuggets.
You know it, Ken. Yeah.
Okay, Ken knows it. That's good. I used to be a regular there. They had good food again. And, one of the bygone, we're talking about bygone eras of, back when there was a Jewish deli on every block in South Florida, whether it be Wolfie Cohen's and Pumpernicks and all that. And then, Alai used to be huge. Newspapers was a thing.
Radio.
But everything comes and goes. Radio, AM radio. And now just look at us. A couple of guys sitting around a table. We're having a grand old time.
Did the bonfire close?
The bonfire.
Oh,
I have
bonfire.
not.
I think so.
I
I had a
think so.
birthday party there once.
I don't
One of my
even-
birthday party, on 79th Street.
79th Street.
Is that where you
Bonfire,
threw
wow.
all the losing tickets in? Because I need a bonfire these days. I haven't had a winner since
Was it cross-
You'll appreciate this, Joey. The first time I met the professor, who's working with us today, does a tremendous job on everything. I'm at this radio station, which was far to the right of like the airport information on the radio dial. I mean, this was a schlepper station. I'm thinking my career is finished. It's over. Don't know what's going to happen there. They probably have 2 listeners tuned in. The show before me was the Vitamin Man, talking about, to come to his vitamin shop and get the latest supplements. I see the professor is going to be operating the controls there, producing the show, and I immediately fell in love with the guy because in his pockets, overflowing tickets from the matinee that day that he had pre-bet the evening performance at Dania Highlight.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's a man after my own heart. How could you not love a guy?
Anybody who pre-bets the evening
pre-bets
card.
the evening. No, I don't know. Were they from the matinee? Might have. No, pre-bet the evening card. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's,
people used to come up to the windows and bet in the afternoon for the night performance.
And then and this was back in the day where there was no internet. You couldn't look up the results, so they would call the newspaper sports department. They had the agate clerks back then, and they would get the results in on the wire, and people would always call in and say, who won the 5th match at Dania, and the answer was always Joey. Hey, let's. I got to put
How
in
many
a fine.
lifetime wins? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Lifetime wins. Wow,
take a
that's
break.
got to be a
I
record.
really don't
Are
know.
we gonna?
Do you know? You don't know? You don't.
I don't.
Gonna finish it or not?
Huh?
You gonna finish the contest?
Well, no. I'm going to do the third clue when Joe Beja gets here because that's his highlight of the week. He loves
okay.
to hear.
I've been to the deli. I can't remember the name.
Okay.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Well, again, it's out there for you guys. Again, Joe DiMaggio used to lunch there regularly. Barack Obama stopped in there on the final closing days of the 2008 presidential campaign.
and Tony and Joey have both been.
I've been there
Oh, yeah, a lot
many
of-
times.
Yeah, I remember
Hollywood.
It was a great
Hollywood
place. Very elaborate yeah.
restaurant,
Yeah.
opened in 71, closed in 2010, had to move after a fire. Hey, speaking of...
Yeah, it was very good too, as I recall. Yeah.
It was.
Speaking of classic restaurants that have survived fires, actually 2 of them, and rebuilt every time and came back better than ever. Our friends over at Tropical Acres Steakhouse, and you are going to want to get in there this weekend because they are reopened. They got their kitchen work, some renovations had to be done this week. They were closed 3 days from Monday through Wednesday. I went in there yesterday afternoon just to make sure everything was, back on track. And yep, Jack Studiali was in there working unbelievably feverishly to get everything done. But they reopened last night, and I already saw a picture posted of last night's prime rib. Looked spectacular, Jeff DeForest, because that's one of their specialties.
You know what? The pictures that are posted on Let's Eat South Florida Prime Rib, there are many good-looking pieces from different places, but Jack Studiali holds up, I mean, as strongly as anything.
But this being Let's Eat South Florida, naturally there was a complaint where the person said, oh, the creamy horseradish is good, but it just doesn't cut it. I wish they had regular straight
Just
horseradish.
ignore that person.
No.
Yeah.
What I pointed out to them is it's available upon request. People have to understand when you go to a restaurant, you kind of sometimes just open your mouth and ask the server.
That's one of your big things.
Hey,
yeah.
can I get some regular horseradish instead of the creamy horseradish sauce?
Yeah,
the answer
you're
would
right.
be, of
You're right.
course. And so this person put a complaint like, oh, it would have been better with. And I was like, it's available upon request. They
Here's
want,
a
they
dollop
aim
right
to,
in the palm of your
they,
hand.
they, they aim to please their Jack Studiali and his family, his sons, Joe and Jackson. They're in the yes business. They want to please all their guests. Hospitality is paramount, as is quality and value. You want to go in there this weekend, you can get the $39 Twin Lobster Special tonight. On Friday, it's available. 2 steamed, fresh North Atlantic lobsters that comes with a salad and a side dish for $39. You can't beat that deal. You got beautiful prime rib, the filet mignon, the rack of lamb, whatever you want. They got good seafood items. You've got the happy hour in the bar, even tonight on a Friday from 4 to 6:30. Half price drinks, every drink in the bar, including premium, like my favorite Belvedere martinis for $8. You can't beat that.
Let's
get them. They're taking $25 out of people's pockets on Las Olas and
Let's
down
go.
in South Beach for a drink that's watered down. It's not even Belvedere.
And the Canes take the field at 3-0. Yeah, very nice.
I love Tropical
Yeah, he
Acres.
does.
Again, they've got the early bird opens at 4:30 to 5:30. The dining room, the regular service is beautiful. They're open every day but Sunday. 2500 Griffin Road, just west of 95 in the airport. Don't forget, next Monday and Tuesday, half-price wine night. Can't beat these deals. Loyalty Reward Club card. For every 12 entrees you purchase, you get the 13th one free. I think I've covered the whole thing. Tropical Acres, tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Did you get a replacement of medical marijuana yesterday or something, man? That was unbelievable.
I think that $2,000 bottle of champagne I floated my boat.
More of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox from the 10 Palms here with our illustrious, celebrity guest here, the great Joey Cornblitt, coming up in a moment.
Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, family owned for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Owner Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Do you like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Beach Cafe. It's a South Florida landmark, and it's one happy restaurant right on the water. Tables literally on the beach. A place where you could dip your toes in the sand, kick back, relax with island vibes, tropical drinks, and live music daily. You know it. It's at 1 Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. And of course, it has Chef Chris Nealon and his famed Caribbean Floridian cuisine. The huge menu with something for everyone. Seafood, raw bar, conch fritters, burgers, sandwiches, salads, deli specials, and of course, that famous Bimini bread. They've got a great staff that'll take great care of you. There's something to celebrate every day. Open 7 days until late. Parking available on site. Happy hour weekdays 4 to 7 p.m. Go check out more at ArubaBeachCafe.com. Better yet, go in there yourself at Aruba Beach Cafe. Good food, drinks, friends, and laughter are always the catch of the day. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox at 10 Palms, Gulfstream Park, enjoying a fine lunch with three legends of South Florida. I mean, I got Tony Segreto, Joey Cornblitt of Alai fame, and Jeff Defo DeForest, 40 years in the biz and still going strong.
Yeah, it might be
Gentlemen,
42. I mean, it's embarrassing when you think back how long ago it was. How we got started.
and here we are. We're still here. 5 shots, and he's still alive. That's it.
You know why we're still here, huh?
But Tony's looking
Why
good.
are we still
and
here?
So is Joey. I mean, these guys look like they're right back.
We're
there
still
in
here
the heyday.
because people need this.
Well, no, they want familiar faces, and I love this whole new era of cut out the middleman. We can just go, you have some technology, you have a computer, and we can be streaming live, and then people can watch it all the time, and they're finding us and they're enjoying us. And whether it's people like Joey or people out there, I don't see the chat line today. I guess Ken is doesn't have it up, so I hope everybody is doing okay. I don't know who's out there, Joanne. Or whoever is chiming in, Andy. Yeah, now I see Judy, Green Eyed Girl. People out there in the audience, if you are a past contest winner and you haven't chosen your date yet, I just want to remind you, I'm going to send out a batch of emails because it seems like I've got like 6 past winners who haven't come in yet and chosen their date. I did hear from one person this morning, and that's Steve Eckert, and he chose his date.
Is there a statute of limitations on this thing?
Well, I try to get them in here. I give them a 2-month period to come in because we don't want them all coming in at once. Yeah. Although it is fun. I think we're going to do another one of our quarterly brunch bashes at the end of October. I don't know how it looks on your calendar, Defo.
Looks fine to me. I'm always game for that.
Okay, so I'm gonna just decree right now the last Sunday in October we'll have another one of our brunch bashes that not just if contest winners want to hold off and come in that day and get to meet and greet me and Defo and Lubie, and if Tony, if you want to join us, you're
Mr.
always
Morocco to you from now on.
Mr. Morocco is going to be here. Joey, you're invited out too.
Thank you.
I'm sure we're going to get Joe Beja. We'll give the usual kinfolk discount of $40 instead of $50. And I don't have the date in front of me. I'm going to say that's October. Looks like 29th is the last Sunday in October. So if you guys want to hold off the winners and come in October 29th, we'll have a brunch bash. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they always do a good job here with the brunch buffet. We're going to have Joe Beja on in a moment talking about the upcoming
Where is Joe
bourbon and barbecue. Yeah, he's a busy man.
He
He's
wasn't near the Moroccan.
He was not close enough for it to make a major impact.
It woke them up or something.
Yeah,
or they were out and about. They were in the hotel or they had Lubie heard the tremors or felt the tremors, and they went out into the street. But then they realized where they were, everything was still standing. It was far enough away from the devastation.
Wow.
And Lubie, he's what's that character in Peanuts that has that trail of dirt, behind him? He's just a stream disaster streaming behind him.
Wow.
Libya to the north of where he was with the horrible flooding. And then the earthquake in Morocco is still devastating and still cleaning up. And speaking of, this week passed.
He's like that guy on the Weather Channel, where's so-and-so going next?
Oh, where's Jim Cantore going?
Jim Cantore,
you're in trouble.
Jim Cantore coming is bad.
Joe B is in the house. I'm going to give the boot to Defo and let him handicap the early double to get us out of the huge hole.
I'm interested in Belmont at Aqueduct, which is always my favorite when something is somewhere where it really isn't.
And I hate that because you know what? Belmont is being plowed under. They're doing major renovations. They're knocking down the grandstand. The Belmont that we knew and loved, that I loved, it will be no more. And for the next 2 years, the New York racing is going to be exclusively at either Aqueduct, and they're talking about running the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga the next couple of years, which is kind of a change in tradition. They're also talking about how they might not be able to contest it at 1.5 miles because of the configuration of the Saratoga track. So they might be changing the Belmont, the third leg of the Triple Crown, to either 1 1/8 miles or 1 3 miles. I don't know what they're going to do, but traditionalists are going to be, I guess, in an uproar. But that's in the future. For now, we have the man himself, Joe Beja, Executive Director of Hospitality at Gulfstream. And we got a pretty big one coming up next week, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, what's happening?
It's our Taste of the Track. It should be the final one for this year. It's our bourbon and barbecue, and that'll be on Saturday the 23rd. So tickets are still available. We have some VIP tickets available for $75, and we have the general admission available for $50. Go on the website, www.gulfstreampark.com.
And again, that VIP admission is key because you get in an extra hour earlier and you get a chance with less crowds to kind of really do a nice sweep of the whole thing and taste all the fine offerings, both the bourbons and the barbecue. Ken, the professor, was asking before the show what kind of bourbons will be featured, and I think you have a list, right?
I do.
Maker's
I
Mark.
came prepared today. So we have, we will be featuring Jefferson's Ocean, High West,
High West is great.
Woodinville. We have Amador. We have Elijah Craig, Redemption Rye, along with Bibb and Tucker. We have a brand.
These are fine
yeah,
brands. This
they're
is
great.
not the schlock
no.
George
No,
Dickel
no.
or
No,
whatever.
no.
Yeah.
No, we're not pouring from handles.
Yeah.
So
The first three are high end.
High West is
Yeah.
is from Utah.
Yeah.
It's a great, most people
Correct.
think of Kentucky as bourbon country,
is
but there's
the
now
great-
they're
Yeah.
distilling some really good
It is the
spirits out
great-
west
it
these
is
And the
days.
same thing with Woodinville. Woodinville is from the state of Washington.
Yeah.
So again, it's under the Moet Hennessy brand, but it was funny because the story behind it is, and I can't remember who the master distiller was, but Moet Hennessy hired a master distiller many years, and they go, listen, we want to start in with our first bourbon distillery, and we want to know who would you recommend? And he goes, Woodinville. He goes,
I
"My
have
favorite."
4 of their bottles.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ah, that's very nice.
Yeah.
I love sipping some fine bourbons and of course you could just sip bourbon all day, but then you're going to be face down. I would suggest going to the barbecue stations.
of
What do you
course.
got food wise?
So for food wise, there will be 4 different buffet tables, obviously with stations, and then we have our, what I like to say, our grazing table or buffet table that you could just go through.
I like
with the
grazing.
sides. But table 1 will be a hickory smoked turkey breast. Sides will be fried okra and corn. The next table will be a smoked Jack Daniel's barbecue ribs.
That
with,
sounds good.
Sweet potato waffle fries and a smoked barbecue aioli on the side. Table 3 will be sweet smoked chicken wings and Carolina pulled pork, and we'll have tortilla chips on the side in case you want to make some nachos out of those. And then 4th table will be the bourbon barbecue brisket and Korean and Korean barbecue beef skewers. Okay, so those are the 4 tables. The 5th table will be barbecued tofu. No, I'm kidding. There's no vegan.
No barbecue.
No vegan. Sorry, guys. But
Well,
anyway,
vegan sides
vegan
or
sides.
vegetarian
I'm just
sides.
teasing
Yes.
everybody. So
Yeah.
anyway, the grazing table will have baked macaroni and cheese, cornbread, baked beans with some shredded brisket, jalapeno poppers, southwestern potatoes.
It's going to be a fantastic
Oh,
spread.
my
I am
God.
going to be there. It's a week from tomorrow, right upstairs on that 3rd floor flamingo room they have here at Gulfstream, which is a really fine place to take in the races and hang out and eat some good food and drink some fine spirits. And I'm going to be in really good spirits after sampling some of those.
You'll notice a lot of the dishes are using bourbons in the dish, even our desserts. Our desserts are including a Jim Beam pistachio cake. We have a Maker's Mark bread pudding, and then a Jack Daniel's tiramisu.
And I'm checking my phone now to make sure my Lyft and Uber apps are installed and have the relevant credit card details, because I will not be driving that day.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Joey, are you a bourbon fan? Are you?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
bourbon. Absolutely.
So it's
my
it's
son
good
is
stuff.
my son is into bourbons, collects all these bottles and
Pappy
Tony.
Van Winkle is
Yeah.
like to become the
So-
the holy grail of the
He
spirits.
was into Scotch.
Okay, Scotch whiskey is good too. Japanese whiskey,
I'd have a
Scotch
bourbon.
whiskey. Give me those brown liquors, and everything is just fine.
I had the bourbon one time, 2 times, 3 times. He says, "What is that?" He started drinking bourbon. His son got into bourbon.
Oh my God.
It's a good sip and drink.
No, it is.
It's good
good.
contemplative, and now
Really
that we're
good.
in the high holidays tonight, Rosh Hashanah, it is time for contemplation. Some people assess their lives. Of course, Yom Kippur in 10 days concludes the high holiday period for those of the Jewish faith with the Day of Atonement. We try to, repent for our sins, but more importantly, we try to, seek forgiveness for those we have wronged all year. So, Joe Beja, please forgive me for any indiscretions for the year that I've done at previous events and that I may pull next Saturday. But hey, and we have a Rosh Hashanah themed contest today. I know you love hearing our contest. I don't know if you're going to know this one because this place closed in 2010. So might be before you arrive. But again, it is a bygone restaurant as a Hollywood deli that was a regular lunch spot for Yankees great Joe DiMaggio. He used to go in there regularly because he was a resident right here in Hallandale, but him and his lawyer would go to this restaurant frequently. And also, Barack Obama stopped in here for a nosh in the closing days of his 2008 presidential campaign, and he bought some potato pancakes, bagels, lox, and black and white cookies. The restaurant opened in 1971, moved locations after a fire in 1993, ended up being on Sterling Road, and it closed in 2010 after there was a dispute between the landlord and the owner. And now it's the third clue is it was a classic Jewish delicatessen in the same vein as Wolfie Cohen's Rascal House and Pumpernicks, which was right here in Hallandale. And it had pickles and coleslaw on the tables, accompanying overstuffed pastrami and corned beef sandwiches, along with matzo ball soup and brisket dinners on the menu. That's not much. I didn't give the patented Mike Mayo clue. I'll do that exclusively for the viewing audience. I would say it's a place where it was cozy and comfortable, and maybe you would find some packs of Cub Scouts in there, which you would call I don't know what. But that's a totally confusing clue. But do you know it, Joe Beja?
I should, and I don't. I'm embarrassed because I live in that area.
Okay.
I live in that area right near Griffin and Sterling in that area. So,
Yep.
and I've lived there since 2003. So
Okay. It was the
I'm
Emerald
sure.
Hills neighborhood. It's
Yeah.
now that restaurant is now a kosher market called The Grove, I believe, and it's next to another restaurant that's a kosher restaurant that's called the Grand Cafe.
I know.
So
I know
you
exactly
know-
the area where you're talking about, the
Right.
shopping center and everything where it's located, and
You just don't know the name
drawing
of
a
it.
blank on it.
Okay.
And it's
So-
funny. I live in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood too, so it's like I figure I would know all these things, but I don't. I always joke around that I'm probably I think I'm the only person that puts Christmas lights up, in my neighborhood. But
Well, it wasn't a blank of iniquity, but it was a
there you go.
blank of I don't know, potato latkes and soups and good fun. All right, that's it. I guess we got to take our second break, and that means it's time to talk about our friends at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Great place to stop in for the weekend, whether you're just having a lazy Sunday watching football and you want to throw some stuff on the grill, or if you're celebrating the holidays this weekend, they have some stuff that will make for a great holiday table. They do have chopped liver there at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood. They make it in-house. It's delicious because they have all those chickens that they also sell, the parts, and you could, have a turkey for the holiday table. They have brisket that you could roast, and a whole selection of other steaks and sausages. We'll be out there next Thursday for our monthly visit. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood is at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the classic Seminole Casino. There's a big chicken on the roof. You can't miss it. They're open 7 days a week. And, of course, selection of fresh fish and seafood is unparalleled. You want to go in there. Jose, the seafood manager, make sure everything is the freshest. He's on the phones daily, talking to all his suppliers, fishermen, crabbers. It's going to be stone crab season before you know it on October 15th. This is the place to go. DelawareChicken.com is the website. You can check out the weekly specials and the daily offerings. And better yet, go into the store itself. It is spectacular. Delaware Chicken and Seafood. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we'll be back to wrap up this. It's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me. I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices, served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting? Have I got the place for you? Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Mondays. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova, or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. We're going to wrap up another week. Another week has flown by. Lubie list week. We got through it, Defo. How about that?
Well, I mean, you know, his wife was concerned that it would become obvious and apparent to us that the necessity of having Lubie
He's
on the show
expendable,
was.
but everybody is. But
Everybody is. Artificial
we want him.
intelligence. I mean, that's
we love
coming
him. We love that voice. We love that squawk, that laugh.
What are you talking about, Mayo?
And we're going to have, we're going to make up for lost time. We did some home shows this week. We were here at Gulfstream thanks to the efforts of the professor. But we're going to be closing the month with a fury of remote shows, trying to get into shenanigans on Monday with Pat Utter. I'm waiting confirmation because Pat, I think it would be great to do a weekend football wrap up. Dolphins obviously going to be playing the Pats and a whole bunch of other stuff going on, and maybe preview the Monday night game by going into shenanigans in Hollywood. That's my local. I'll be there Sunday watching the Dolphins game this week. And then we will Tuesday, I think we're going to go to Wicked Cheesesteaks. Our friend Brian will be open on Tuesday. They've been keeping that. They used to take Tuesdays off, but now they're open every day there at Wicked Cheesesteaks. Going to love them. Go up to them right across from Holy Cross Hospital in Fort Lauderdale. Wednesday, we're going to be at, I can't even think anymore. Oh, Casa Calabria or our friends Bamboo Tiki Hut. Thursday, we're going to be at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood. And then Friday, right back here at Gulfstream.
Ooh, Thursday.
Before the big bourbon and barbecue bash. And again, contest, get those entries in before noon tomorrow. MikeMayoEats@gmail.com. Numbers 1 through 9 for tomorrow's 8th race at Gulfstream, along with the restaurant in Hollywood that's no longer with us. And what do we got going on this weekend? Any big plans, Defo? Eating plans?
Watch football.
football.
Yeah, probably went with Tony on that. It's going to be a great weekend.
No davening. You're not going to the synagogue.
I'm not really going to fake that anymore. And
This is
my mother would be very disappointed that I don't even pretend to be a Jew. Yeah,
He's a man of
wealth and taste.
convenience of
Oh.
religion.
Okay. Yeah. No.
So
But he's very spiritual when he's alive in the double and they're coming down the
I
stretch.
thought the jockey
And
on
his
the
horse
two
is
was
coming
God
down.
in the last race, especially when he swung that animal out there and won by 3. That was
And
great.
we don't mean to be irreverent, but we are. And no, and the thing is, this for those who are observant and the when Rosh Hashanah falls on the Friday night, the Shabbat, the Sabbath, it's a little bit more grueling
It's a
because
beautiful thing.
they add all those extra paragraphs into the prayers because
yeah?
it's
Wow.
also the Sabbath. I know these things because I went to Hebrew school and I
I
was
did a little Hebrew
an
school.
observant, in my younger days. I
Yeah.
would go as a teenager. But yeah, so it's the extra long version of everything when you're in the synagogue because it's on the Shabbat. But I hope everybody enjoys themselves, has a great, wonderful, happy, healthy New Year. Myself, I'm going to be celebrating by going to a football game
Oh, I thought
tonight.
you were going to be playing poker.
No, it's the big high school matchup of the season between Chaminade and Madonna visiting American Heritage Plantation.
it is a big game.
And Chaminade just destroyed Bergen Central, I think, from New Jersey, which is like a powerhouse school that from the Northeast that came down.
Listen to Larry Bluestein over here. All of a
62
sudden, he's like Mr. High School football.
62-21 last week.
He's just talking about Shabbat Shalom, and he's got
I'm a
the
Renaissance
analysis on
man.
the high school like Marty Glickman is on the show or something. What is
Well,
this?
Heritage is 2-0 and highly regarded, but Chaminade looks like they're like in the upper echelon, nationally ranked. Pat Utter's son is involved with the squad
So
there.
you gotta go.
I'm going tonight, and I'm rooting out. My daughter is the captain of the cheerleading squad, so I'm going to
Gotta
root
be
for a
out
great
there, yeah.
halftime show by the cheerleaders there at
Absolutely.
Heritage. And and I'll be praying for a Heritage victory along with a happy, healthy New Year for all. Guys, thanks so much for coming out. It's always a
Great
pleasure.
one, man. Joey Cornblitt, man. One of the greats.
Joey.
Thank you for having me. It was great. Had a great time.
Oh, I want to ask quick. I mean, we got to get out of here. But chula, chick-tuck, how are those terms? What are those terms, and how did they come?
Chula is when the floor and the back wall meet, and you hit it right there in the
See,
corner.
when I first came down here, I thought Don Shula was so big they were always just chanting Shula for.
He was there one night, and everybody kept saying Chula, Chula. He stood up to wave to everybody, and it was Don Chula.
That's great. And on that note, we will close
goodbye.
out another week of the Lunchbox. Everybody, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy every sandwich and enjoy every
I've never seen him so
salad.
happy. Have you?
Wow, you even